Hello and welcome to the Cine-Files and our final week of our month of Hitchcock. My name is Steve Morris. I'm a filmmaker and directing instructor in Los Angeles, California.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Roca. I'm a voiceover artist, host, writer, and producer of numerous shows and podcasts here in the greater area of Los Angeles. And I'm super excited that we're doing another. We haven't done a commentary track
Since Kane.
since Citizen Kane. It's been a year. So we're back into doing another commentary track for our month of Hitchcock. And this is one the fans chose, Psycho.
Yeah. It was a close race.
Really? What was the other one?
So the other one was North by Northwest, and it was neck and neck. It was like North by Northwest was up, and then Psycho was up, and then North by North, and then Psycho went up by 10.
Right.
And at that point is when I called you and said, okay, I think we're going to do Psycho.
Right.
And then it was only up by 8, and it was only up by 9, and then it was even again, and Psycho now just won by 2.
Yeah.
So this was a close one.
Well, Psycho killed the competition. Hey-oh.
So we are going to do a commentary track, which means we're sitting here in my office. Psycho has been brought up on my TV, and I'm going to do a little countdown and hit play, and we're going to go right into it. Oh, and one other thing. One thing I am not sitting with is I have no notes.
That's right.
This is a little scary for me.
We're going to wing this thing.
It is all what occurs to us off the top of our heads.
Right.
And we're going to count down this thing right now in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Universal logo.
Yeah.
So you didn't do the DVD job at Universal, right? You came in after.
No, I came in after. Yeah.
I watched this logo because I was actually working only on Universal DVDs for a while. I watched it over and over and over again.
Oh, wow.
It haunted me.
Okay.
It's just a little personal upset.
Yeah.
And now we're into back to Paramount Pictures.
Now, we're not going to hear any of the audio.
No, I have it turned down.
Okay.
You want me to bring it up a little bit?
Just a little bit.
Well, this opening music that we have, Bernard Herrmann,
There we go.
is really, really good.
So classic. Dun, dun, dun.
And another Saul Bass title sequence.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Same guy who did Vertigo, which we just did.
That makes sense. The thing about this movie is even from the beginning, this is the best theme song, or movie theme rather, until Jaws, in my opinion.
Certainly, it's
In terms of a horror.
absolutely I think it's been ranked over and over again. It's like the most recognizable, along with Jaws, piece of movie scoring. And we talked about Bernard Herrmann when we did Vertigo.
Yes.
That, he does a lot of the heavy lifting. In this movie, Hitchcock says he's worth 33%.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, that makes
of
sense.
this movie.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's he does a lot. Well, and this movie was made on the cheap. Nobody wanted to make it. Paramount didn't want to spend the money on it. It was based on a book, I think.
Yeah, it is. They just showed it, yeah.
And Paramount said no, and finally Hitchcock said, "Well, I'll do it with a TV crew for like $1 million."
Right.
And then he said, "I won't even take my normal." I think Hitchcock would make $250,000 on a film,
Right.
and he said, "I'm not going to take it. I'll just take a piece of the profits." Like a third of the profits.
Yeah, little did he know.
That ended up being a good call for him.
Well, the movie Hitchcock that Anthony Hopkins plays Alfred Hitchcock in with Helen Mirren playing with Pat. Was it
Alma.
Pat? Alma, right. Is based around this time in his life when he was looking, the studios weren't sure if they could trust him. They didn't want to give him the money for Psycho. So the whole film is about him having a crisis of confidence, not only in his relationship, but as an artist. And eventually Psycho is the thing he creates out of this incredible time of, insecurity or fear or worry about his legacy as a film director.
It's so crazy to me. By the way, we're in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes.
And it's so crazy to me to think of in the end of the 50s that he has a crisis of confidence.
Right.
After the run of some of the most amazing films of his career.
Well, the great ones, it's all relative. It's all perspective. This is all like starting like Dragnet, 2:43 p.m.
Yeah.
December 11th.
Originally, I know they wanted this to be like you actually would fly through into the window, but they couldn't quite make it work. So this ended up being on a studio.
Well, Orson Welles made it work in Citizen Kane.
True.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean. I just love that movie so much. But the dread here is so great, right? Just the soft dread, and then, of course, the sexiness of Janet Leigh.
Well, this is a very sexy movie.
It is.
Well, and the linkage between sex and scariness, I think Alfred Hitchcock is the guy who first really discovered that, and now in horror movies, that's just connected.
Yeah.
This is a very sexy scene for 1960.
I agree. Like she's in her bra, and Janet Leigh's an attractive lady. She's in the slip, the whole nine. This is for those of you who are young. Janet Leigh is Jamie Lee Curtis's mom, right?
That's right.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom with Tony Curtis.
Yep.
Yeah, being her dad.
Well, and the fact that we have an unmarried couple who are staying in a cheap hotel for like afternoon sex.
Right.
That is really, and there's a bunch of things in this movie that really push the boundaries of what was appropriate.
Right. Sam, this is the last time. It's risque. Right?
Oh, yeah. And we hear that, they have to meet in secret because and he only comes down on business trips, and that I think was divorced. And I mean, this is exposing a whole world that really wasn't seen on film.
Well, it also lays the groundwork to Janet Leigh's character, that this is a character that violates the rules or breaks the law of whether they're moral or, societal, to get what she wants, to satisfy her impulses.
Now, here's my question. Do you trust this guy at the beginning of this movie?
No,
I don't either. Like
either of them at the beginning of this movie.
Well, she keeps talking about, well, can we meet in public? And and he keeps saying no. And I'm going, and it's funny, later on in the movie, he ends up being that he is a good guy. But at this point, I'm like, no, he's just using her or something.
Right. And this is the direction of Hitchcock. They telling the actor to play it this way. Like, he's got the sneer, he's got the smoothness, he's got the charm. He starts out in the dominant position in the film because she's laying on the bed, he's standing over her. All of that,
Yeah. It's you can tell that it doesn't have the budget. Like we just did Vertigo. And Vertigo is just beautifully shot and beautiful. One of the reasons it's black and white is that black and white's cheaper. Mm-hmm. Shot with a TV crew on sets that are similar to TV sets.
It feels like a TV set. Yep. Yeah. I wouldn't from that time. Yeah.
And what's so interesting is how many things Hitchcock wants to get us invested in that end up not continuing.
Yeah.
Like normal movie structure is the stories that you start in the beginning. Those are the things you're going to work on throughout the film. And this story of this relationship and her wanting to be married to him and him resisting because of his alimony or something like that.
Right. His debts.
Yeah. Which, by the way, dick move. I mean, like, there's no, when you're going, no, we can't get married until like I deal with my debts.
Yeah.
You're just keeping her at arm's length.
I guess, yeah, but also a part of you is like, well, maybe some people do have that principle. Like they don't want to burden other people with their debts.
I totally get the principle.
Yes.
But what he's doing is going, well, I can have sex with you without marrying you and without seeing you in public or having any real relationship with you.
That's weird that he won't see her in public.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, he's divorced. He's not married.
Right. Is he ashamed of her?
Well, this is why I think the movie wants us to think that he's a jerk at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And what's the big decision she's got to make? Am I going to continue with this guy until he eventually pays off his debts, which could be never, or I'm going to leave him? And at this moment, she seems like she's kind of rejecting him and walking out.
Now she's the dominant one. Right, it's the tables turn within this scene from where she's like, "Oh, we shouldn't even meet anymore." To by the end, she's like, "All right, I'm ready. I'm good to go." And some women are like, some women have that. In the moment of vulnerability, they're able to, or people, I guess, in the moment of vulnerability, they kind of open up about these things, and then once they put their armor on, they're the ones in control of the situation.
So we're at the real estate office where she works, and there's the woman who is with her, I believe, is Pat Hitchcock. That's Hitchcock's daughter.
Wow.
And we're talking about that there's some guy that's going to come in and make a really big deal that the boss is out with. And that's where the MacGuffin of this movie is going to come from, which is a whole bunch of money. Yeah. Here he is coming in now. And this is a classic, like, Texas jerk.
Yep.
Because he comes in and immediately starts flirting with Janet Leigh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trying immediately to undercut this guy at the knees so he can be the dominant male in the situation.
It's so weird the game he plays with her too, because it's this weird, I take good care of my daughter by giving her lots of money.
Yeah.
And hey, how are you? It's just horrible.
Right. She pulls out stuff so she can just like, I don't want to pay attention to you. Let me pretend like I'm doing work.
Yeah. He's like, I take such good care of my daughter. I could take care of you too. And the boss sees it. The
Yeah,
boss
of
is like,
course.
no, come on. Let's get off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just creepy guy.
Yeah. And you could see on Janet Leigh's face I've had to do this many times.
Yeah.
I am going to pay attention to him the way he wants me to.
Yeah.
In hope that he gets out of the room soon.
Right.
And this is the MacGuffin, that he is paying for this house or whatever it is with $40,000 in cash.
Yeah.
Who carries around $40,000 in cash?
Well, I guess this Texas guy does.
That's ridiculous, particularly in 1960.
I declare.
And there's a lot of shock of like how much money this really is.
But see, no one's clean. Look what he said. Like he says, I declare. That's how I get to keep it because I don't
declare.
But I don't declare.
Great point.
Right. Yeah.
Great point. So he is ripping off the government.
Exactly.
So they're going to go off and have some drinks.
Right.
Oh, what a jerk. I hate people like this. Like anyone who comes in who I don't know, who is aggressively like talking to me and with a big person, like uber extroverts always like, as an introvert, always push me. I don't like it.
They unsettle you.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do without question. So now we got to get rid of this money. He said the boss says, I don't even want it in the office. Go put it in a safe deposit box. And so she's just going to head home.
Yeah. With the money.
Yep.
Right. She calls it out. I guess he must have noticed my wedding ring. Right. And I love that. I guess he must have noticed my wedding ring, which is her way of saying, he didn't flirt with me.
That's why he didn't flirt with me.
That's why he didn't flirt with me. Right.
Yep. Even today, if I had to carry around $40,000 in cash, I would be nervous.
Of course.
I mean, that is a ton of money.
Yep.
And this is where she says that now here's my question. So she's going to steal this money.
She is.
Has she already decided when she's saying, I want to go home early because I have a headache?
Good question. No, I don't think she has.
It's really interesting because we don't really see the decision.
Well, she said she was talking about the headache when she walked in. So she's still consistent about the headache being an issue.
It's true.
And I think the headache is her like, I really enjoyed having this afternoon with this guy. Now I have to go back to work. I don't want to go off to work. I want to get the hell out of here.
But we've also established the problem, which is that the guy says, I can't marry you until I deal with my debts.
Right.
Here's $40,000 in cash.
Yeah.
So
Take care of it.
This is the solution to the problem. Again, Alfred Hitchcock is, shall we say, exploiting or using the production value of Janet Leigh in a bra.
Right. Exactly. So now the envelope's been kind of ripped open a little bit so you see how much is in there.
Well, and this is great storytelling, which is the camera moves in on the envelope, which she did not take directly to the bank.
Nope.
And pans over to the suitcase saying she has made a decision.
Right. And Janet Leigh's stressed face lets you know that she's not, and her body movements, her sharp body movements let you know that she's not happy with this, but she's going to do it. And if she takes even a moment to think about it, she knows she won't do it. So she's trying to move quickly, so she doesn't even think about it.
Well, and because, of course, she shouldn't do this.
Right.
This is a terrible idea. Exactly. It's a bad plan. Even despite what's actually going to end up happening to her, this is not a plan that can work.
Right.
You can't take $40,000 and go to your boyfriend and get him out of his debt and have nobody catch you.
Exactly.
Life does not work that way.
Nope.
But it seems like a good enough plan to her. What's really interesting about this movie is how much time it spends on just watching the details of behavior.
Yeah.
Of her going through, she's got her paperwork, she's got the money, she's packed her bag, how she we're just watching stuff.
Yeah.
And we do this quite a bit in this film. It's interesting because it's, Hitchcock is not actually a fast-paced filmmaker. He, we talked about it in Vertigo. There's a lot in Vertigo of Jimmy Stewart driving around.
Yes.
There's a lot in Rear Window of Jimmy Stewart looking out the window.
Well, I think that's the gift of his horror, Steve, as a director, is he shows you the mundane nature of these people doing the things that they're doing. Because you know what? Normal people do spend a lot of time. Some people spend a lot of time driving around. Some people do the mundane things in life and then also find time to do these other things to get them into horror situations.
And what he gets is that it's about suspense. He's created this suspenseful situation and knows that you will watch the slow-paced thing in order to experience that. And then here is the world's worst coincidence, which is sitting at a traffic light, and who should walk by literally looking into her window but her boss.
Oh, who stops?
Oh, when she said she was going home because she had a headache.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that look could have saved her life.
Yep.
If things had gone a little bit differently.
Well, and the horror music kicks in that moment too.
Yeah.
Again, the theme of the
Yeah.
song of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now stress. So now she's like, "Oh, this guy could catch me now."
Yep.
This is the moment where she could turn around, return that money, put it in the bank, and disappear. Right? Or and everything's fine. But she just is determined to do the things that she's doing. It's really quickly that we jump into this too, Steve, for a film. You know, other people might criticize this film nowadays and be like, oh, wow, she just makes a decision and she goes this quickly? What the hell? There's no exposition. But with Hitchcock, you went along with this because you knew he was going to fill in the blanks later.
Well, and what's so weird is we get quickly into a whole storyline that is going to be completely stopped 40-something minutes into the film.
Yep.
You know, where this is when this structurally is one of the weirdest films ever made.
Yeah.
Because our main character ain't going to survive the movie.
Well, it breaks a lot of rules, and yet it works.
And so she's asleep by the side of the road, and this cop comes up.
Right.
She's not a good criminal. Because as soon as she wakes up here,
yeah,
she is stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
She's exactly the kind of person.
It's the fear in her face.
Yeah.
She thinks she's been caught.
I don't know who this cop is, but I've seen him in so many things. I wish I knew his name.
Oh.
He's definitely one of those faces.
Yeah.
I mean, she even tries to start the car to get away.
Oh, she's a good person. She knew she had to sleep.
Listen, have
you?
fallen. I've been close. I've definitely done the pullover.
Oh man, yeah. Oh yeah. I've come close to. Yeah, I mean, oh yeah. When I was younger, driving and I would fall asleep at times. It's kind of scary as hell. I have.
Yeah.
It's been a long, long time since I've been asleep or falling asleep behind a wheel, but it is one of the scariest experiences of your life.
Oh yeah. Nothing will get your heart rate up more than suddenly going on the road.
Ah.
It's like she's such a bad criminal in this moment.
Right.
Like everything she is saying is making this guy be suspicious.
Well, also, Hitchcock does a great job with the camera upping the ante here in the stress by keeping it in close up.
Yep.
Right. So it makes it feel like you're experiencing what she's experiencing in that moment. Oh,
You should never ask a policeman, why do you want to see my license?
yeah.
I love, by the way, this little bit of physicality of I have to hide me taking the money out and all my papers out before I go and hand you my license.
Right.
With the cop right there looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does everything wrong as a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
He checks out the license plate. Again, we have that classically good Hitchcock storytelling. I think this is all on a set, by the way. That's a process shot backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
Like that just looks like just a painting in the background here. I mean, this is a cheap movie.
So she just got off. Like he didn't say anything, nothing.
Well, she hasn't committed any crime except that he's going to follow her.
Right. And again, the music kicks up now again, which is great.
So apparently, by the way, I love these shots of in the mirror, and I think that's also a process shot and through the rearview mirror. I don't quite know how they did it. It looks really cool. Apparently, he offered Bernard Herrmann to work for way less than his normal rate, and Herrmann didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Finally agreed, and they used a much smaller orchestra than they normally do. And then Herrmann, he heard the music and said, "Okay, I'll give you more money."
That's how it works.
Yeah.
And the cop pulls off because the cop's going to Gorman.
So we must be cool now. Must be safe.
Yeah, totally.
And immediately she goes and makes another choice to just look more suspicious. Which is, let's go try to buy a used car. Let's switch out cars.
Mm-hmm. But let me keep my license with my name and my face and my address on it.
Well, and I mean, the way this whole thing is going to go down is just terrible.
Yeah.
Worst criminal ever.
It's a hastily put together plan.
True.
And what it ultimately ends up leading to, it's even more of a shame.
Well, except that her crime had nothing really to do with anything else that happens in the movie. Yeah, it's just strange. she's just trying to find a good license plate. I don't quite understand what the license plate. I mean, obviously her new car will have a different license plate from her old car.
Right.
What is she looking for
I
here?
think people are superstitious.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what it is. People are superstitious.
About what though?
Oh, the numbers, what they mean, the letters put together.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
People are strange about that. Oh, there's our friendly cop again.
Yeah. Well, this is where you should just leave.
Right.
Like, because the whole point of switching cars doesn't really help you if the cop is watching you do it.
Exactly. Just camping out there. And I love how he rolled up on her. He just found her.
And now he's just watching.
Right.
Another guy who's in all sorts of stuff, who, if I had notes, I would know his name. It's hard for me, John. It's hard. So
Big-
she's just like, let me buy a car.
Yeah.
I like the moment, by the way, as we're watching this car salesman. He's doing his normal car salesman thing, and then she starts, and he as to push her to buy a car. And as she gets more and more aggressive about going fast, he starts to resist.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Because this is really weird.
He senses there's something wrong here. I mean, you've probably seen a lot. You've probably seen all there is to see when you work a car lot, I imagine. People trying to cheat and steal and trade in cars, do whatever, man. I'm sure you've seen it all. I just don't know how she plays it off here with the cop just like totally
It's
watching
so
her.
bizarre.
Yeah.
By the way, the car dealer who says that's the one I'd pick for you myself. I hate buying a car.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's like,
That's why
please
CarMax
don't
is
make
the
me
best.
go through all this stuff.
Yeah.
First time the customer ever high pressured the salesman. Oh, I think this guy's been on Star Trek. I think he's on an
Really?
original Star Trek episode.
Oh, I gotta look this up. Let's see who this guy is. Is he not the?
I don't know. He's
Yeah.
definitely familiar.
See, he knows something's wrong.
Yeah, this is the moment he turns. Like, let me get a pink slip, and
Yeah.
of course she has brought all her papers.
Yep.
Again, what is she thinking is going to happen? She's gonna go drive to meet Sam Loomis, which
Yep.
is the same name as the Donald Pleasance character in Halloween.
It is.
And she's gonna bring him the money, and then they're gonna pay the debts. And what does she think? She's got this new car. She's got all her like birth certificate or whatever, things with her. What does she think is gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, when I have $40,000 in cash that's stolen in my purse, I usually bury it a little deeper. I don't have the corner of the poorly sealed envelope just sticking out like that.
Yeah.
Little notes from Steve's criminal past.
This is things that you know to do.
Yeah.
So this guy played Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis in 8 Men Out.
Oh, yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
He's a big part of
That's
that.
a good movie. I haven't
Yeah.
seen that in a long time.
I like that movie. Let's see. Any other? He, passed away in 90. He was in Matt Houston for a couple episodes. For those of you who are old enough to remember Matt Houston.
I'm old enough.
Fair enough.
It's so fun. This movie we spent, particularly because I have the music turned down,
Mm-hmm.
is that you spend so much time watching the mechanics of her going and moving things around in her purse
Right.
and coming back out.
California Charlie. I love that. But something's wrong here. This guy worked consistently for a number of years. Every year.
No, he's been in tons of stuff.
Wow, it's incredible.
And that cop is still just standing there.
Yep. Doesn't look suspicious at all.
I
does it?
don't understand why she's doing this.
Yeah.
Like the cop it's like if I go, oh, I'm going to shave my beard in order to pass to someone else. And I go to a barber, and sitting in the chair next to the barber is the cop I'm trying to escape. And I
Right.
say, hey, shave my beard so this cop won't recognize me. That plan doesn't work. The cop is now pulled into the car dealership.
Yeah.
You look suspicious, lady. He is looking at your license plate.
There's something
It
wrong
has
here.
not worked.
Well, I mean, the guy said, you can do whatever you want. If you're a woman, you get, when you set your mind to it, I guess you're going to do it anyway. So maybe she's just stubborn enough to believe that she's going to do it anyway.
Yeah, and she almost drove away without her suitcase.
Yeah.
And again.
But I love that the cop is just watching her. It's like, what is happening?
And we're never going to deal with this cop again.
Yeah.
Because
so
this
weird.
this is what's weird is all of this tension that Hitchcock is so masterfully creating about her escape with the money, and is she going to make it?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Well, yeah.
It's not the movie. That's not what the movie's
That's
about.
true. That's true.
Then we have this whole sequence that's really interesting where she's hearing the voices in her head of all of what people would be saying.
Mm-hmm.
What is the cop saying? What is the car dealership guy saying that he paid $700 in cash? And she's going to hear like what her boss says and what all these other people say.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming this is just her, what's going on in her imagination.
Yeah, when you have a long way to drive, you just kind of create these scenarios in your head sometimes, or have these exchanges of what you think is going to happen. And clearly she's not, like you said, Steve, she's not a professional criminal. So she's like running down all the multiple scenarios that could happen.
Well, and in fact, this is all the thing I think that actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
Is that these, they do call her sister and they are trying to find out where she went. Because we hear about the sister and all the worry.
Do you think she's creating this whole thing? Or do you think this is stuff that's happened off camera and this is Hitchcock's clever way of showing the scenes without showing the scenes?
I think it is both.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I think the only way this works is that this is her imaginings in her head, but it is in fact giving us all the storytelling we need, while really all we're seeing is a shot of her face.
Yeah. Driving.
And, if you're going to look at someone's face in a close-up, well lit, Janet Leigh's not a bad person to look at.
That's a very good point.
It is weird the things that actors have to do, because she's sitting in a studio in a car with her hands on a wheel, just like look stressed.
Yep. And I wonder if they're reading the lines off camera
Maybe.
so that you can start like reacting a certain way. So much is happening for her in her eye. Like she's almost like enjoying it now.
There is someone like, well, because I think she has literally, everyone has had the desire at one point to destroy their own life. Like, fuck it. You can't control me anymore.
Right. I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah. So I think she is enjoying it. Again, Bernard Herrmann's music is killing it here. And man, her windshield wipers really don't, let's get those things going. Come on.
The worst. But she's constantly in these scenarios of danger.
Yes.
Before she's actually in the real scenario of danger. And it's to keep you unsettled as a viewer. Like you're constantly like the light's too bright. Everything. They're dealing with the cop. They're dealing with, with the salesman. All of that is just to keep you just unsettled the whole time. You don't know what's going to happen. And he builds to it. When it happens, you're just like, oh, man, he did it. He really did it.
One of the weird things thinking about this movie to me is seeing it when it first came out. Because by the time I saw it, I knew who Norman Bates was.
Right.
There wasn't a surprise.
Right.
Like, do you remember when you first saw it, if you knew that there was no mom, that mom's dead?
I did not know that. No.
You didn't?
No. I knew about
did.
Psycho and Norman Bates, but I didn't know that it was his mom. That he had played his mom.
I did.
Yeah.
And so, because when Hitchcock, when they released the movie, he made it, there was a rule of no one would be admitted to the theater after the movie started.
Right.
So, because he didn't want anyone to, because it used to, people would walk into movies halfway all the time, which doesn't happen as much now.
Right.
But he didn't want anyone to miss the beginning. And the theater owners didn't want him to do it. And ended up being such a great ad campaign that they loved it.
Clever marketing.
Yeah. So we've arrived at the Bates Motel.
Yeah.
One of the most classic locations in the history of Hollywood.
Our friend Mike Kalinowski is a Norman Bates over at Universal Studios.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
I knew he did the stunt or the effects
special
show.
effects show. Yes, but he also plays Norman Bates. And at Halloween Horror Night, Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, you will catch him playing Norman Bates every once in a while. He's a good Norman Bates. He's a scary dude.
And here's the Psycho house, which you can still see on your Universal tour.
Yes, you can.
Ask for Babs.
Yes.
And here comes Anthony Perkins.
Ask for Babs. Nice reference. Is that an Animal House reference?
It's Animal House. Yeah.
That's right. Here's Anthony Perkins.
He is so good in this movie.
Yeah.
And this is one of those roles where it made and destroyed him.
Yeah.
You know, this is
Yeah.
he's so indelibly this character. And what he does so well, and particularly in this first scene, and in several other scenes, of the balance between sweet and charming and creepy and increasingly creepy and disturbing.
Right.
You know? Like if he wasn't likable on some level, I don't think he would be as terrifying.
No, right, exactly.
You know?
Well, and it's good. I mean, and I'm not sure what kind of research or work Anthony did to create this character, but you see that it's like he oversharing. He's trying to be too nice. He's almost too nice. In being too nice, he oversells, and in overselling, it feels inauthentic. That he's trying to hide something. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And again, all of her looks and glances, she's lying about where she actually came from. That moment, he's reaching for a key to one of the other cabins,
right? And
then with a glance back to her, switches her to cabin number 1.
Right.
That is the first sign that this dude is a creep.
Yeah. Well, I like that when you look at the newspaper where she has it, okay is visibly seen because things are not okay.
Okay, here's one of the things that's weird about the movie to me.
Yeah.
So, because I didn't get this when I had first seen it, is that Fairvale, which is he just said we're 15 miles from Fairvale. That's where Sam, the guy she's going to visit, is.
All right.
Is that she just had a look of like, oh, am I that close? And he's like, yeah, you're that close.
Right.
And yet she still decides to stay here in the motel.
Yeah.
Why? You're 15 miles away.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. She should have powered through the 15 miles to get there.
15 miles.
Well, I guess, sometimes you're just tired of the whole day. Maybe she just wanted to sleep. And then tomorrow, 15 miles, she can make that in no time. She just wants to sleep tonight and chill out.
I love Anthony,
a lot of stress.
I love his Norman Bates' awkwardness about gesturing to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, that's over there. She's like, yeah, it's the bathroom.
Right.
But he doesn't really want to say it.
Interesting shot by. Like, look at he's off to the right, and there's all that space there, the distance.
Where she has the mirror in that same empty space.
Right. It's so weird.
Yeah. Yeah. In general, when a dude in the middle of nowhere asks you to come up to the house for sandwiches and milk, you say no.
Do you think this whole time Norman is planning he's going to kill her?
Well, this is there's a whole explanation of his psychosis at the end of the movie.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which is that when he becomes sexually aroused by her, that is when the mother character dominates his personality.
Right.
And, honestly, we'll get to it. But the whole psychiatrist coming in at the end of the movie, I can pretty much do without.
Yeah, no, it's a little weird.
It's a long, long monologue explaining everything.
Well, yeah, and maybe I'm sure the studio made him put that in there.
I don't know. It's funny because after this movie, you get all these killers who don't need explanations.
Yeah.
You don't need an explanation of why Jason or,
right. Michael Myers,
why they're doing it. They're just crazy people.
Yep.
She's working really hard to figure out, where do I hide my $40,000 that I've had hanging out of my purse this whole time?
As if people are going to walk in and just know she has this money.
Yes, I found the perfect hiding place. No one will ever suspect that I've put it inside a newspaper.
That's very smart.
Fiendishly clever.
She clearly hadn't seen It's a Wonderful Life, where money disappears in a newspaper, so that's a big mistake on her end.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, Uncle Billy.
Oh, Uncle Billy, you buffoon.
Now I'm picturing the movie in which Uncle Billy shows up at the Bates Motel with $8,000 in cash.
Now, what do you think she hears? Like, is this really happening? Once again, is this really?
I think they're saying that the movie is he talks in her voice. What are you thinking?
Wow.
What?
Whoa. It just occurred to me.
Yes.
What if Psycho never actually happened?
What do you mean?
I mean, like, remember she was complaining about her headaches? Maybe this is all a feverish fantasy, and she's still asleep on the side of the road. This is all a dream.
I'll do you one better.
Oh!
At the end of the movie, we have Norman Bates, and we're hearing the voices in his head while he sits and smiling.
Yeah.
It could also just be his fevered dream.
Oh.
but I don't think any of that's true. I think
No.
this is just what it is.
Yeah. Well, hearing the voices, how could she hear the voice so distinctly from that house all the way down to where she is in the motel?
Fair point. Well, dead mothers' voices really carry in cold, rainy nights.
Well, listen, if you don't have a lot of money, you got to be inventive on how you're going to show scenes. I can't shoot the scene. Okay, so what can I do? I can record voiceover of the scene occurring. People will get the gist of the scene, and you still get characters introduced. It's smart filmmaking. I like that he corrected himself, my mother, instead of, because he knows he calls her mother. Oh my God, mother. But it's like, my mother.
Does Norman Bates talk about his mother all the time?
Probably.
And nobody picks up on the fact that mom's dead? Like,
who's the nobody?
Well,
he doesn't go into town a lot.
Right, and I guess the people coming through his motel aren't talking to the people in town.
No, and I think he's only talking to her because he finds her attractive.
Sure. And we know that we find out later that he's killed 2 other women before this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting, the barrier between cute nervous and creepy nervous.
Yeah.
And Anthony Perkins walks it very carefully and goes over it at the right moments.
Yeah.
At this moment, she thinks he's cute nervous.
Right.
She will think something very different pretty darn soon.
Well, she's a city girl. He's a country boy. She thinks she has all the advantage.
I really wonder, movies like Psycho, movies like Deliverance that we did before, movies like Halloween that we did, I think these movies shatter certain safe places.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether or not we were ever safe or how safe things are is a different conversation, but I think, after seeing Psycho, woman won't go and have a sandwich and milk with a strange man in a motel.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I love that shot of an eagle or some kind or something like that?
Well, because he is a taxidermy specialist.
Right. But it also gives you that vibe, an eagle is a predator. He is a predator.
Well, there's all this
kind of subtle illusion.
because her name is Marion Crane.
Right, Crane.
There's all this bird reference.
Yeah. Yeah, eats like a bird.
Yep. Did he bring a sandwich for himself?
I don't know. Does he ever eat a sandwich?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, and honest, it doesn't look like it's a sandwich because he just brought her some bread and she's spreading things on it. Listen, if I say I'm going to bring you a sandwich, I will make the sandwich.
Yes. Well, but I can't do that.
Why can't he stuff dogs and cats?
I don't know. What do you think?
What I wonder is because he tried to stuff his mom. He didn't do a very good job.
Yeah.
So I guess that he's, here's a better question. Because one of the early signs of, sadism is attacking animals, is hurting animals.
Right, of course, yes.
And so what I wonder now, looking around these rooms, how did he kill all these?
Right.
Like, did he kill them all? Are these early signs of his craziness?
Right.
And I wonder what happened with cats and dogs. Maybe he did torture cats and dogs and he got in trouble with mother.
Sure. Certainly possible. But I also think birds are an important illusion because of flying away. Right?
Which is what she's doing.
Right.
Marion Crane's doing.
But also him, like his desire to stop them from flying away, to stuff them, to kill them and stuff them. That's his thing.
Well, and we know at one point he killed his wife and his mother and her lover.
Right.
That's what happened 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And makes you wonder, like, were they going to leave him? Maybe they were about to, maybe this man came into their lives and went, hey, your son is a psychopath.
Right.
You had to do something about him. And that's his reason for why he killed them back then.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And you're right. We are talking about this running away theme in this scene.
Mm-hmm. I think
that statement, we're all on our private traps. This is where you're going, like, the dude I'm having a sandwich with is starting to freak me out.
But no, if you're watching as a fan, you're like, oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, because we don't know he's evil yet. We don't Norman. We don't know any of this as you're watching the movie for the first time.
Well, this is what I really wonder about 1960 is like, what did you know?
Yeah.
You know, you knew the name was Psycho. You knew there was, it was a horror film from Hitchcock.
Right.
But beyond that, I don't know if you know anything.
That's a good point.
And what we think this movie's about is this woman running with $40,000.
Right.
Which it's not.
Now, the way the frame,
Yeah.
it's just great the way they.
We're in these low angles with those birds really lit right above him.
Yep. He looks creepier, even creepier in those shots.
And I think we do feel for this guy with this horrible mother at this moment, if you don't know what's going on.
Well, we don't know how horrible the mother is. We only have his word to take for it, and he was an unstable guy.
Right.
He's an unreliable narrator.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But do we think of him as unreliable at this point?
No, of course not. No.
Yeah. Yeah. And now he's telling the whole story.
Yeah. So what?
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, go ahead. No.
I was going to ask, have you stayed at a motel like this?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, there was one Karen and I stayed at in South Dakota, and it was like $12 a night.
Yeah,
and it was like this, rickety little tiny rooms.
Yep.
And there was a moment I remember there where suddenly, because we didn't have any money and it was being cheap, and a sudden moment in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, we went, "Hey, this is creepy."
Why don't you go away?
It's that same thing of like they're both trapped and they're both escaping.
Right.
What's interesting too is that this conversation is the moment where theoretically she is deciding to go back.
Yes.
I did a crazy thing. I should go back.
Her fire would go out.
Yeah.
Even if you hate them.
So let's examine that line. If you love someone, you don't do that to them, even if you hate them.
Right.
If you love someone, even if you hate them. That is an interesting line.
Yeah. But he's way more sharing.
Yeah.
Than he needs to be. You know what I'm saying? And poor Marion is just like kind of navigating the situation.
Again, great framing, by the way, with him and that bird in the background.
Oh, yeah.
And you could see in Janet Leigh's reaction now that's like, oh, this guy's a little intense here.
Put her in someplace.
Again, Anthony Perkins is great.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a harsh line, man. So he's talking from personal experience.
Yep.
I think that when he was a kid, they put him away.
Yep.
I'm going to stick with this theory that the man that the mom was with wanted to put him away.
Again. Wanted to put him away again. Yeah.
That's harmless as one of those stuffed birds. That's right.
Nice illusion.
Yeah, I think this moment she's become scared.
Yep. Oh,
you see how he describes her as a chicken?
He's so angry.
Their tongues and shakes their heads. That is a bird. Those are bird movements.
Yeah. He's so angry.
Yeah.
But then he comes back down on that high.
Have you ever been where you just found yourself in a really weird conversation with a total stranger and you didn't like that was intense?
Yes.
That is, this is a tough thing.
Happens all the time. You know, in this business over the last few years, fans will corner you and they'll like, or followers or, people who respect your work.
Oh, sure. Well, and they think they have a relationship with
you.
Yeah.
They'll corner
their
you.
voices in your head all the time.
And have these really interesting, intense conversations. You're just like sitting there going, yeah, I get it. Okay. And you're trying to just be respectful, but you're also trying to tell them like, dude, you are like bringing me into your world way too powerfully. Like, I'm good. I don't need to be in this much.
There was a woman who I got into a parenting conversation. We met at a kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
And she was in a vulnerable place, and I gave her some thoughts.
Right.
And then she was crying and hugging, and then I've seen her since, and every time I see her, she's just like, I need to talk to you. I'm like, and she's a nice lady, but it's a little rough.
Yeah.
And here's the decision. She needs to go back before it's too late for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's almost ashamed of how it went down, that he thought he could have done it better. You know?
What do you mean?
I had this conversation with her. You can tell by the end, because she chooses to go back to her hotel room, that he's like, oh, I messed this conversation up. I should have done better with this conversation and blah, blah, blah.
Well, what do you think he wanted?
Oh, I think he wanted to keep her there. But
Yeah.
then eventually she hits her wall and she has to go. But now look at the swagger. The swagger now comes out of the Predator. Right at this point,
Yep.
like the smirk, the confident gum chewing.
Well, this is the
He's
thing.
no longer the meek guy.
See, this is why I think that psychiatrist statement at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
which says that, oh, the mother personality becomes dominant, and he's split personality and all that stuff. I think that makes the character less interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Like this
I agree.
transition that we've seen where he went from being timid to this swagger that
Yeah.
you describe. Like, I think it's more interesting if he uses the mother personality to do, but he, you know what I mean? Like, it's not
Yeah.
the poor Norman Bates being, destroyed by the powerful mother personality. It's
Right.
more like it's a show.
Yep. I like that he stood there and thought about it, and then he had the smirk come across his face,
Yeah.
and then committed to it.
And again, that prurient objectification,
Yes.
and along with vulnerability and horror that Hitchcock does very powerfully.
He does, but he also, now looking back on this, there's a lot of our fans commented on, or a few of our fans commented on how, like, how Hitchcock treated his women, his female actresses. It's evident in the movies he directed and how he puts the male protagonists in certain situations.
Yeah.
Him ogling Janet Leigh's body through a hole. Oh, look at that. That's such a great movie, the camera. It's on. Oh, that house in the darkness.
No, it's a great set.
Who designed this, do you know?
I don't. If only I'd done some research.
Well, it's just so iconic. The way
I know this is his TV crew. I know that this is shot at it's shot at Universal, but still distributed by Paramount. But this is, by the way, why he moved to Universal after this, because it made so much money, and it made so much money through Universal that he ended up being a huge shareholder, like owned, I don't remember, some high percentage of the total ownership of the company Universal. Yeah. Because of this movie.
Anthony Perkins.
I think this was the number one black and white film of all time.
Wow.
It's something like that. It's really big. She's doing a little math. Trying to figure out how much she owes.
It's not going to matter. They're going to come for her. Right? They're going to arrest her and find her and whatever. In real life, I mean.
So here's one thing I did see.
Yeah.
Is what's about to happen. She's torn up her little math, and she's going to throw it in the toilet. I think originally in the script she burnt it. But this is the first, my understanding is this is the first showing of a flushing toilet in the history of American film.
What?
Because it was against the code. You could not show a toilet flush.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
You could hear it. And now, just like that, we're in the iconic scene.
Yeah, we've gotten there. Can I say one thing about this that I think is crazy?
Please.
Do you ever get into a shower and turn it on in your face?
No.
No, because it could be freezing cold.
Exactly.
No one does that.
I always check it first.
Yes, you check the temperature and then you get in.
Right.
But yes, this is among the most important and famous scenes in the history of film.
Yeah.
And I think it's always ranked as one of the scariest scenes of all time. And it was shot, I know, I think it's like a week, and it's like 70 different setups and very complicated. Janet Leigh was in the shower a long time. Here it comes.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Yeah, that is a creepy shot.
Right. And so well framed. She's
Yeah.
small in the shot. She's to the corner.
Well, and the fact that they keep the character in silhouette here is
yeah.
amazing.
So you don't know what's happening.
I think it's like 60 cuts or 70 cuts.
Oh. And she's fighting back.
Mm-hmm.
And, props to Hitchcock, who does not show any nudity of her. Keeps it like what do you call it? Like out of focus. But like the screams and the sound.
It is a brutal. And we got to say the Bernard Herrmann score here.
Oh.
Hitchcock didn't want it scored.
Right.
He did it against Hitchcock's orders. Hitchcock said, no, there should be no score.
Oh.
And Bernard Herrmann scored it anyway. And Hitchcock went, you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where he offered him more money. This shot of her sliding down is
Yeah.
just so brutal.
Like just the thought, like if I hadn't taken the money, I wouldn't be here. If I hadn't done, like, there's so much about this situation I could have avoided, and here I am, dead.
Every shot is just so well composed.
Yeah. There's some good shower rings too. I got
It is Bosco chocolate syrup for the blood.
Oh, nice.
Because that looked good on black and white film.
Right.
And
her wife literally running out.
Yeah. And then this is one of the great dissolves.
Yeah.
Going from here to her eye.
Yeah.
And she had to stay unblinking for a long time. It's not easy to do. It is an iconic scene. And the thing is part of what makes it, I always think it's, people don't think about setup as much. It's like, is that if you hadn't been so invested in this character for the last, 40 something minutes, you wouldn't have just been completely shocked by the scene.
Yep.
Like what is the movie?
Right.
What's the movie? What happened to the money and to the boyfriend and she it's all over. Everything we've been invested in is now over.
It's such an unusual thing to do with a lead actor or actress in the movie or protagonist in the movie.
Camera pulls off her to show us the money.
Yeah.
And then who are we going to see again? Oh, it's right. We hear, oh God, mother, blood. So at this point, I think you as the audience, because you saw the silhouette of a woman, you go, oh, mom killed her.
Yeah.
And here comes Anthony Perkins, here comes Norman Bates, and he's going to see it.
Yeah.
And again, great reaction.
Yeah, the hand over the mouth thing is fantastic.
And the fallen bird.
Yep.
In the picture frame.
I mean, he immediately goes into damage control mode.
Well, and this is what I think. You know what we could say? Because I was saying, there's the moment where he sort of changes after she walks out that we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Is maybe that was the moment of mother taking over.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're back to Norman, who doesn't know that, she's been murdered.
Right.
And his panic. And again, the movie is really interested in showing you the mechanics.
Yep.
Because now we're going to spend a really long time watching how he figures out what to do with a bloody, body in cabin number 1 at his motel. Turns off the no vacancy sign. And this is the weird thing about this film is the pace is actually fairly slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're going to spend a long time watching him clean up.
Once again, the mundane nature of Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Showing these mundane tasks that people have to do, but then how they confront
how many times have I had to clean up a body in the bathroom? It's funny. I just realized that that's what Thelma Ritter says. Where did she murder the person in Rear Window? The bathtub.
Oh, yeah.
And that is where we are because that's the easiest place to clean up. It's funny. It's also like watching Janet Leigh pack.
Yeah.
In that other scene is that we're going to spend a lot of time. Just that arm going through there is just a great.
Yeah.
With the little trail of chocolate syrup blood, It was funny thinking about this. Today, this doesn't work at all.
No.
You can't.
Oh my God, no.
You got DNA evidence here. You can't clean things up that easily.
Right. I just don't know what do you think he's trying to find. Like, people are going to smell the water. Like, because you think he's like, no one's going to come looking for it. That's the lunacy of it all.
Well, I don't know. I think Norman Bates is a better criminal than Marion Crane is.
Oh, well, sure.
He's got a smoother act.
That's a given.
And again, in 1960, the teasing of the nudity here is pretty daring.
Yeah. But he's going to wrap her up.
Just watching him slowly clean himself up.
Oh.
That'll do it.
Erasing all the DNA, right? Whatever that means.
I know that some of this is based on the Ed Gein serial killer. Well, that's one of the other things about this movie. I think this movie creates the serial killer slasher genre.
Okay.
You know, like this is our fascination with this idea. A person who has no compunction about taking life.
Yeah.
You know, this is where it comes from. Yeah, just a quick wipe down. No problem. What I think is even crazier is, by the way, his decision of like how to get rid of the car and the body. That I'm just going to push it into a bog.
Yeah.
And it's just going to sink. I mean, it does work out for him, but
Yeah. Still makes no sense.
Do you remember, by the way, when you first saw this movie?
Psycho?
Yeah.
Whew, man. Maybe 20 years ago, maybe 10 years ago on TCM. Every year.
I love this shot, by the way, the way he's framed on the left.
What's that?
Oh, just the way he's framed on the left side.
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning of that shot just looks great. So you think on TCM
I see
10
it
or 15 years ago?
once every 2 years, Psycho. Yeah.
What is it, like an annual tradition on TCM?
Not really an annual, but it show up on TCM. So, like, if it shows up, I will save it and then find the time to watch it from beginning to end.
I think I first saw it in my 20s.
Okay.
And I think I rented it. And it was one of those weird ones where I knew all the stuff, but I had no idea what to expect. You know what I mean? Where it's like I knew that that it was the mother, and I knew that stuff. And
So you knew the twist already go walking in.
Totally knew the twist.
Okay.
And I knew what I didn't know was the Janet Leigh, Marion Crane stealing the money story.
Right.
I had seen the shower scene already before I saw the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it plays in so many things, and I knew the music.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I didn't know about Janet Leigh's sister and the boyfriend. I didn't know any of that stuff. So I knew the twists.
Right.
You know.
Well, Vera Miles was supposed to, right? Wasn't she?
She was supposed to be Vertigo. Yeah. She was supposed to play Kim Novak's part.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I can't imagine anyone other than Kim Novak.
No.
I mean, Vera Miles is fine.
Don't get me wrong. Vera gets the job done. But if you want it done really well.
This is so intense. The carrying the naked body wrapped in clear plastic into the back of a trunk of a car.
Well, thank God nobody was up around the complex or nobody was staying there.
Well, he said that this motel's in the middle of nowhere now because I'm assuming that what that means is he's on Route 66.
Right.
And they built the 10 freeway. I don't know what year they built the 10 freeway. It must have been around the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that did kill all the businesses off on Route 66.
Well, that's a good point. So he's packing her things for her. What do you think? What is he trying to do here? What's the whole point of
Well, he's got to get rid of every piece of evidence that she was ever here.
But look at it's just so extra long. Do you need it? You were saying that you don't think they need it.
Well, I'm just saying that the amount of time Hitchcock spends on this sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 8 minutes of watching him, you know, clean up blood and pack up her things and grab her shoes.
Right.
And look through the room and find all the stuff. It's a long, and it really, I mean, this is honestly a sign of Hitchcock and Bernard Herrmann's genius.
Yeah.
That we can sustain this for this long a period of time and make it suspenseful.
But we keep waiting for him to flip.
Yeah. But I also go like, well, what is the suspense? Like, what are we feeling now? You know what I mean? Like, because we were suspenseful about, oh no, are this character is going to get caught for stealing this money?
Yeah.
Okay, that character is dead. And now I guess we're suspenseful of, you know, it's funny. Hitchcock said a thing, I remember in the Truffaut book, that he said, what's really interesting is how fast our allegiances can switch.
Oh, yeah.
Is that here we are, we're with Janet Leigh, and now we're with this other person, and we're worried, and don't want him to get caught with Janet Leigh's body.
Right.
Like, we were on Team Marion Crane.
Right.
And now we're just suddenly on Team Norman Bates.
Yeah.
You know, that is weird.
Because we don't know the twist.
Well, even if you do, though. I mean,
he's methodically working through this whole thing.
Yeah.
So you can't really disrespect it.
Well, and and he's finally spotted. Is he going to open up that newspaper? No, doesn't care about it at all. Well, and I guess he's protecting his mother, who's a killer. That's what we're thinking.
Right.
I really think whenever we watch anyone in a process, we're going to end up on their side.
Oh, yeah.
Even when they're doing, I mean, like Hannibal Lecter is the perfect example where when he does the escape, and he's literally killing innocent people.
Yeah.
You're totally with him.
You're with it? Yeah.
You're excited about, isn't that awesome?
Mm-hmm.
Which is messed up.
True. Human beings have a propensity to switch sides if it serves their purpose.
Yeah. Like right now, I'm on Team Roca.
Yeah.
I'm pro outlaw. But as soon as you walk out the door, we don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know where you're going to be. You could be pro team action, pro team Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy.
I don't know. I don't know who those people are. So
he knows everything to do.
Yeah.
Every methodical step he needs to do, he does.
I mean, how do you know that a swampy bog is going to suck this whole car in?
Yeah.
By the way, we're about to get to one of my favorite moments in the movie. A very small but awesome moment.
I love how strong Anthony Perkins is also.
Pushes that car in, and we see it go in, and it's going to start to sink. And it's sinking.
We hear
and it's sinking. Got some gurgling sounds. He's eating something.
Yeah.
And then it's going to stop.
Oh, wow. Well, is it stopped? Well, it keeps somehow descending.
There, it stopped.
Oh, wow.
And we go, oh, no, the car's not going to sink.
Right.
And there's a moment of, uh-oh, my plan's not going to work. And then, okay, now it's going to go.
Yeah, now it's going to go.
But and again, this is really slow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Let's see. It's, I think it's been 10 minutes since the murder.
Oh, wow.
Almost. And we've been just cleaning up and getting rid of the car.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're kind of like, what's this movie about?
That's a good point.
We're seeing someone write a letter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on Sam Loomis stationery.
Yep.
And we're now with Sam Loomis at his weird hardware store in Fairvale or wherever we are. And this is the boyfriend.
Yes.
And we're like, oh yeah, the boyfriend. We're just some woman who's talking about killing insects and will it be painless or not? Yeah. I mean, I guess it's sort of commenting on what we see before. And here outside the door, we have Vera Miles.
Yep. Marion Crane, is that what you said? Marion Crane?
Yeah, this is her sister.
Yeah, Marion Crane's sister.
Lila or something like that.
Isla. Yeah, maybe it was Isla.
Isla? Oh,
Sam?
And Vera Miles, did we last see her in Searchers?
Yeah.
She's Searchers, right?
Yep.
Lila.
Yeah.
There's this moment of like, is she here? Of course not.
Right.
She was like 15 miles away. I just keep going back to like, why didn't she just come all the way here?
Martin Balsam.
I love Martin Balsam. This is our third movie, I think, with Martin Balsam.
Mm-hmm.
All the President's Men and 12 Angry Men we've done with him.
Yeah.
He's a great actor.
Maybe one day we'll do The Verdict. He's the judge in The Verdict.
Oh, that's right. You and I both love The Verdict.
Yes.
So anytime.
We got to do that one.
You were just talking about that on Top 10, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that came up.
Is he? No, wait. He's not the judge. He's part of the. Is he part of the church group?
Maybe. I don't remember.
He's got to be in it. I know.
I know Jack Warden is the buddy.
Oh, of course, Jack Warden.
I watched The Verdict again a couple of years ago. So good.
Yeah. Let me see here.
So Balsam is the private eye.
Yep.
And what's so interesting about this, he seems, because he was hired because they don't want to get Marion Crane in trouble.
Right.
Because they don't want to go to the police, which I think is a really interesting choice, is that had she turned around and turned back, I think people wanted to forgive her.
Oh, sure.
She would have been okay.
Yeah, because he isn't really necessarily a terrible person at this point.
He's not a terrible person.
No.
I think he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that, okay, the movie is this movie about this woman who's stolen this money so she can have a life with the man that she loves. And then suddenly that story gets completely cut short in the shower.
Yeah.
And now what's going to happen is the movie is going to become this story about this private eye because it's going to be his story.
Yeah. So she thinks he did it.
She thinks that Sam's involved?
Sam's involved, yeah.
I think so at this moment.
Yeah, because she said, like, they just want the money back. They won't even ask questions.
But pretty quickly they move away from that idea.
Yeah. Yeah, she's trying to save her sister.
And I do wonder about the sisters' relationship.
Yeah.
Because I get the sense that Marion has jumped into situations in the past.
Well, yes, and I think that's the situation. She's the good girl, the good sister. She's always cleaning up for the bad sister.
More responsible.
Right. And that's why you cast Vera Miles in this role, because that's what Vera radiates as an actress. Whereas Janet Leigh was a little more unstable, and you could tell in the characterization she had for this film.
And this Private Eyes figured out the basic thing is that the boyfriend's here, she's going to be here.
Yeah, eventually.
And so he's going to go off and knock on every hotel in the area.
Yeah.
And not find her until finally he moves a little bit out of town.
Yeah.
And ends up at the Bates Motel.
Big mistake. I like that he's eating candy.
I think that was Anthony Perkins' idea.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised.
He's a great looking, young, interesting guy. And again, you know what? So if Marion Crane is the world's worst criminal, he doesn't do well here.
No.
He's better than she is, but not
barely.
by that much.
Yeah, barely.
12 Cabins, 12 Vacancies. Have you watched the Bates Motel show?
No, not yet.
I heard it was good.
Yeah. That's Freddie Highmore and Vera Farmiga. I think it's on 4 seasons. Like in this last season, Vera Farmiga is not on it as much because this is where he starts to turn into his mom. Apparently this whole season, and starts to kill and do the things that he does. So Freddie Highmore is playing Farmiga, playing the mom. So he's like, kind of having to copy what she did with the character.
So he says, hey, he's being very like, sure, you can come look at the rooms. I'm going to go change the linens.
Yeah.
Because he's wants to show him that there's nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. And we're in here. And of course, Arbogast, what's his name? Something like that.
Yeah.
Martin Balsam.
Arbogast.
Yeah. He is going to show him the photo.
Yep.
And I think it's a very good reaction from Norman Bates.
Yeah. He enjoys the banter, though.
Yeah.
And he enjoys playing stupid when he needs to. He's always in control of any interaction he's having, verbally.
Bates?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think so, because there's that nervousness.
No, but it's an act. Because that's how
You think the nervousness is an act?
Oh, it's an absolute
Well, no,
act.
but this goes back to the thing I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
So there's the image where he knows he's a killer.
Yes.
In which case, I would agree, the nervousness is an act, because we see that moment after he's nervous talking with Marion Crane,
right,
where he then steps out and he kind of brings all that together.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't know he's the killer, then he doesn't have anything. I guess he's covering up for his mom is the murderer. Yeah. And then I go, is the nervousness an act?
Right. I hear you, but I think it is.
Well, that's why I kind of wish it was your way.
Yeah.
I would like that better. It's because I think the psychological explanation at the end is sort of silly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think he puts this act on for everybody, because this is how he lures people in.
Right.
By playing the sweet, innocent, nice guy, people get lured in. But then when he has to do what he has to do, he just goes into the mode that he has to be in to do it.
Well, and here, by the way, I think he's already been caught in his first lie, because he said no one's been here for weeks, and then he just mentioned a couple that was there, and now he's being forced to show the books, and we're going to go find. He's got a sample of her handwriting.
Oh, yeah.
And he's looking, and we can see the nervousness. I love this shot, by the way.
Yeah.
He's leaning in. That's just a cool, super cool, weird angle as he leans into this under his chin close up.
He's like a bird.
Yeah, totally like a bird.
Like that, yeah.
Who we already know don't eat like a bird.
Nope.
Yeah. And now you see the nervousness, because you showed him the picture. You said you didn't recognize her, and now he's gonna. Oh yeah, no. Now I remember her.
Yeah.
Looks at it again and remembers her.
Yeah, and then quickly remembers it.
Yeah, her hair was all wet because last time you saw her, she was in the shower.
Yeah.
Dude. And now he's got to reconstruct a new story.
But he's walking him into it. Like, this is what a PI does or a cop does. They get you to talk about it like they're your buddy, and then they capture you with the whole conversation.
Well, and what's funny is I think he's far less suspicious than he should be, Arbogast, because this guy, I mean, it's like Marion talking to the cop, you know, like the cop, you know, clearly this is a person who is lying and feeling guilty.
Yes.
And Arbogast is watching it, and yet he leaves and kind of goes, oh, maybe I'll go back and check, but not like something was really weird was going on.
Right. He sensed something was wrong, but he didn't know what it was exactly.
Yeah. Oh, now you're starting to remember. Balsam's great. You know, there's certain people who had really good careers, but you wish you could have seen them do more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bet there were gears Martin Balsam had that like were never explored.
Oh, yeah.
Because no one would ever cast him in that thing.
Good point.
You know? I think 12 Angry Men is still my favorite performance of his.
Of Martin Balsam's?
Yeah.
I think you might be right.
Because there's so much to it.
Yeah.
You know, you could see all the subtleties within the performance.
Yeah. I like when he comes out. Oh, come on. He's good at that stuff.
You haven't seen 7 Days in May, right?
I have not seen that one.
Yeah, he's in that too.
Oh.
And really good.
Was he Secretary of State or something?
He is he's like the president's kind of right-hand man. But
okay.
Yeah, that's a really good movie I'd like to do sometime.
I'm your right-hand man. For the Cine-Files.
Well, you are literally on my right now.
That's right. So I am. This is a great back and forth between them, though, because it's a chess match between both of them. And I think he feels almost like validated having this back and forth with Arbogast, because he feels like this is how good I've gotten to it now that I can do it for a guy like this and get accepted for it.
Well, now he's Bates has said, yeah, I'll take you to all the cabins.
Yeah. And
he walks to cabin number 1 and changes his mind. This is some very suspicious stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Balsam looks up.
Sees the figure.
House.
Sees the silhouette. He's just walking him through it. Like, Balsam thinks he has the upper hand the whole time. He thinks he's laying the groundwork. He's slowly working him over, being a friend, everything's just to get the information, and then he's going to nail this guy. Whereas Perkins is smart because he is crazy, yeah, but he's crazy smart, you know?
Well, but this lie, this is why I go like, the lie that he has is so bad.
Yeah.
You know, because he just said, there's nobody, I don't live with anyone, there's no one in my house.
Right.
But I saw a figure. Oh, you mean my mother? And it's like, well, that is a terrible lie.
Yeah.
And particularly when you're talking to the private investigator and your mother is actually dead.
Right.
You know, this is not he's not such a good criminal.
Yeah.
She might have fooled me, but she didn't fool my mother.
Right.
It's another slip.
She's confined. And I like the confined. The confined means I buried mother back down inside me until I'm ready to bring her back out.
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
Yeah.
And later on, I will put her in the fruit cellar.
Yeah.
My house does not have a fruit cellar.
No.
How much fruit does one need to put in the cellar?
Enough to fill a cellar, I imagine.
I suppose.
Something lasts for a week, probably.
Well, in the cellar, it would last longer. There's cool in there. Yeah.
Good point.
That's why you have a fruit cellar.
Yeah. It's amazing things you learn on the Cine-Files show.
Absolutely. And that is the music changes. And again, that change in expression on Norman Bates' face.
Yeah. Listen. I like that he's in black. That reference of mourning.
And then the smile.
Look at that smile. That smile. Oh, so see what I'm saying? He thinks he's got him where he wants him.
Well, this is why I go back to this idea of, is he two people or is he one person who knows what he's doing?
It's a good question.
Or maybe in that moment he just became mom. That's what he just switched to the mom personality.
Maybe, yeah. Without the annoying voice.
So we're calling Fairville 2038.
Yeah. Loomis.
So who hired him?
Good question.
Because I think that when he came into the store, it didn't seem like he was working for Lila.
Right.
And yet why is he calling now to report to them when when I'm assuming it was the real estate guy who needs the $40,000 back. That's who hired him.
Good point. It was a mess for it.
Yeah. So he's given them all the information, which is important because they're going to need that soon.
Right.
And now is when he kind of says, there was one more piece of information I want to get. There's the mom, and she might have seen him. And this is key because now he's going to head back into the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go back to the Bates Motel.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like dangerous at all.
No.
Never trust them when they say I'll be back.
Well, if it's Arnold in T2, you can trust him.
Yeah, I guess.
But if it's Arnold in T1, you cannot. And if it's Arnold in every other movie, it's just, something he had to say. All right, we're back at the motel.
Looks to be like morning, early morning, would you say?
I think this is evening. I don't know.
I think it's dusk.
I don't know, because it seemed like it was daytime. He didn't spend a whole night and is then going back in the morning. That doesn't make sense to me.
Maybe. I don't know, but he's wearing the same clothes.
I think it's that night. I think it's just, this is
You think it's just
dusk.
timing?
Yeah. This is really weird. Dude doesn't get out of his driver's side, slides across, and I'm sure Hitchcock just wanted the shot.
Yeah.
But I know we have bucket seats now and they had bench seats, so you could just slide across, but it's still weird.
Yeah.
And he walks essentially right by where Anthony Perkins is.
Yeah.
Who we saw over on the side there, right?
Yeah.
And now he comes in looking for him. And then the spatial relations end up just being weird.
Yeah.
I wondered when I first saw this, is he going to find the hole to look into cabin number 1?
I wonder what the symbol is of the raven, too, being the first thing he sees.
Well, he quotes Nevermore.
There you
that
go.
much.
So let you know he's about to be stuffed.
Sorry, quoth.
He doth quoth.
Quoth the raven. And is this a safe he was looking in here?
Yeah, it looks like.
Oh, because he's looking for the $40,000.
Right. Looks definitely much like a safe.
Because he still thinks it's a movie about $40,000.
Right.
Which it's not.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Creepy house.
Yeah. Don't go up there.
No, it's a big mistake.
Don't go up there because I know you want to. Don't go up there.
So what happens to Arbogast, to me, is actually more upsetting than Marion Crane.
Absolutely.
Why is that?
I think the way it's shot, the camera they use, and the way he's falling backwards, that helplessness of it all, and the shock on his face of what's
they're
happening.
both totally unexpected and shocking murders.
Yeah.
And the shower scene is far more vulnerable and horrific.
Sure.
But this one's just maybe because Marion was running and she had stolen money and she was in somewhere she shouldn't be in some level, whereas he's like a good guy who's just trying to find the truth.
Yep.
So have we ever seen anyone lock a door in a Hitchcock movie? Like all through Rear Window and in Vertigo, people just walk into places.
Yeah.
He just walked into some strange people's house.
It was a nice time. It was a nice time back then.
Yeah. I love the way this is shot. It is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Looks around, walks up the stairs, beautifully constructed. And then this is, I believe that is a projection, and that's how they're doing this.
Sounds about right.
It's like a composite shot. And as soon as you see that door start to crack open, you go, oh no.
The God's eye view of this scene is incredibly brilliant. But right there.
Here, yeah.
The helplessness of it all. Ah!
Yeah. And then this is just so cool.
Right? The shock of it all. And then, I didn't remember they screamed.
Norman's mom is spry.
Yeah.
Runs right down those stairs for an invalid.
I like it's so he closes the distance so quickly that it's so believable that he doesn't have time to react.
Yeah. And now Lila's so that's our second movie now.
Yeah.
So our first main character was Marion. We watched her for 40 something minutes.
Yep.
And then she dies unexpectedly. Like, what's the movie about? Then we have 10 minutes of Norman cleaning up. And then for the next 10 or 15 minutes, we're watching Arbogast.
Yep.
Now, he's our guy. He's doing I think he's getting close. He's figuring out the clues and like, nope, no more him.
Yep.
And now the movie is Lila. And Sam, I guess, but she seems to be the driving force.
Well, of course.
Because she's like, he's not back. We gotta go.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll go.
Yeah. By the way, do you think that this is going to end up being a romantic couple, Lila and Sam?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I think so. Because he was enjoying himself with Marion, but it was always these excursions. I think his proclivity is more for the good girls.
By the way, we're back
The marriage.
with the car-eating bog.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny. I don't find them to have chemistry together.
Right.
And Lila is such a different personality from Marion. They're really well-drawn characters, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what's weird. So he hears them say Arbogast, right?
It's such a well-shot moment.
Really
slow turn in the dark. He's in the darkness in his face. Everything else around him is light, but in his face he's dark. Look at that.
That's a great shot.
Yeah.
But if he heard them say Arbogast,
Mm-hmm.
now when he comes back here,
Mm-hmm.
what does he think? He knows someone was looking for them. Oh, so it's just him. So it's just Sam that went.
Right.
So he knows someone. Oh, and he saw the old lady too.
Yeah.
Sick old lady, unable to answer the door.
Or on Willie.
But again, if you kill your mom,
Right.
and you stuff her and preserve her body,
Yeah.
and everyone thinks your mom is dead, wouldn't you not leave your mom silhouetted in your window all the time?
It's a good question.
Just asking you, John. I feel like you know more about these topics than I do.
Well, I have lived a bit of a wild life. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I love this guy too. Such good character actors in this show.
So we woken up the sheriff,
Yeah.
trying to tell the story.
Such a perfect sheriff for this town. Old, putting on the pounds a little bit, got the bushy eyebrows.
But it seems to have some wisdom.
Yes.
His wife is good too. She's very like sweet,
Oh.
kind of let me make you some milk and cookies while we talk about murder sort of person.
Right.
And they're talking about Mrs. Bates, and this is as soon as you see these little looks,
Yeah.
you start to go, oh shit.
Wow. Wow.
I like this sort of slow pace as the information gets to the sheriff.
Yep. He's so chill though.
He seems like the kind of sheriff you'd want to have in your small town.
Yep. He's seen it all.
Yeah.
He's relaxed about it all.
Yeah.
Tell me what you need. I'll tell you what happens.
He's not a good enough sheriff to know that there's a serial killer
No.
that's working in his town.
Yeah, he's a bit dropped the ball there.
Yeah, he's missed some stuff. Yeah, Lila's totally the driving force here.
Oh yeah.
Do you think at what point
Yeah.
does the audience, if you've never seen before and you don't know anything,
Right.
at what point are you starting to wonder about Norman?
I didn't wonder about Norman until the end.
I think that last push in on him at the bar.
Oh,
that you
yeah, good
talk
point.
about.
Yeah.
He looks very evil and powerful.
Yeah.
And then I think the looks exchanged between the sheriff when the subject of mom comes up
Mhm.
also plant a little bit. But I don't think, I would agree with you, is I don't think you could really conceive of what the reality is
Okay. All right.
unless, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you know it.
I hear you.
Yeah, Flory, connect us to the Bates Motel.
Stop messing around.
That was really nice of the wife to do that for him.
Yeah.
He could not do that himself.
Well, the more he does it and puts everybody at ease, then they can sleep together. Oh, they sleep with themselves. Right?
What?
I'm sorry, sleep with themselves. Yeah, the fella stopped by there tonight. This one wouldn't be a customer anyway. He's a private detective.
Name of Arbogast.
Arbogast. I like to use that.
Yeah. Well, I think we've solved this whole thing. Arbogast came and he left. I think we're all good.
Yeah.
And there it is. She's been dead for 10 years.
Oh, man. In the audience, you're like, what? What the hell's going on?
I think that she's been buried for 10 years. I think that's become such a cliche in spooky stories.
Yeah.
You know, oh, he's been dead since 1973. And I don't think this is the first time we ever saw that. I think we saw stuff like this in the Twilight Zone before that, and probably in Edgar Allan Poe stories and things like that.
Yeah.
But this locks it in. Wow. Norman found them dead together in bed.
How do you know? Because Norman told you.
This is where, like, I don't think you're such a good sheriff, dude.
Yeah. In the house behind the motel.
This also goes to, like, the thing, there was the Eddie Murphy routine, and then in Scream, where now that we know horror movies work, where you would go, okay, I saw an old lady in the window, and you say she's dead 10 years.
Yeah.
There's an alarm going off.
Of course.
There's some real problems here.
He's so cocky. Look at him. The chewing of the gum. The sleeves are rolled up
And again,
now.
it's that low angle shot.
Yeah. Do you think he also maybe senses that he might be in trouble?
Well, this is what's so odd about what they do with his character, is that if it is, as they say, there's the Norman personality and the mom personality, then I don't quite get what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, why does he look cocky right now?
I keep getting called into the room. Norman?
I mean, maybe that was mom. It'd be interesting because he's eating the candies.
Yeah.
I wonder if when he's eating the candies, he's mom. You know what I mean? Like, if we're saying that sometimes when we're seeing Norman, he's Norman, and sometimes when we see Norman, it's mom, it would be interesting to break down which is which.
You think I'm fruity?
Because he made the decision while he's sitting down there that I got to put mom in the fruit cellar. Again, this is like smart, cheap storytelling on Hitchcock's part.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even going to shoot anything. I'm just going to have the camera move around.
And hear voices.
Yeah. And I mean, it is moving into this. I mean, this is not an easy shot to do. It is a difficult shot. But all of the whole scene in there, we're not even going to see.
Nope.
Norman, what are you doing? What do you think you're doing?
Oh.
Because now our brains are going, who is this woman he's talking to?
Right.
If his mom is dead, then who is this? And then you kind of, I think at this point you've gone, oh, Norman must be the killer, and he's abusing this poor woman too.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing. I can't imagine the movie not knowing what I know. That's the hard thing about this one.
Well, there's always room for church.
I always go to church before I visit a serial killer. Get your head in the right space,
Pancakes?
So the sheriff already went to see him.
Yeah. Just handled himself.
I think it's time. The sheriff's not doing anything, that we should take the law into our own hands. Again, their plan is not very good either.
Right.
Let's just go to the motel and poke around.
I just love how, when they don't agree with you, I don't know. You see what he said. He's like scoffing at things that are happening here. Yeah.
Well, and it does make sense because they don't know they're in a serial killer movie.
Right.
They think they're in a crime movie.
Of course.
There's just this poor woman who stole 40 grand and she has disappeared.
Yeah.
And somewhere she's going to spend the money. We'll get the cops involved. We can still find her.
Yeah.
You know, but Arbogast's disappearance is actually the weirder one, you know, because Marion's trying to disappear.
Right.
He's not. And now it's been, 24 hours since we last saw him.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to go check into the Bates Motel. You know what? I'm kind of changing my thought. I think there's no connection between the two of them. I don't think they end up together. I think they are total, this is convenience.
Okay. Now, who's in white? Norman. Why is he in white all of a sudden? Does not look happy.
Can't find Norman.
Yeah.
I love the setup of this, by the way, which is they're basically saying, hey, we need to check into your motel for afternoon sex, but we need a receipt, but we want to pay in advance. It's all very strange.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is charming Norman. We get to see sweet, smiling Norman.
Yep.
Why does he want a receipt? I never quite understand it. Oh, because he wants to see the book.
He wants to sign in, that's for sure.
Could you recognize your girlfriend's signature if she signed someone else's name? We haven't been with her that long.
No, but I can sense from her writing the distinct difference between us as writers.
Yeah.
In terms of how we write on a page.
I can recognize my wife's handwriting, but I don't know that I could recognize if she signed pretending to be someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would do that.
He's trying to call him out.
Yeah. Here, let me pay you my $10 in advance.
He's trying to instigate him. He's trying to see if he'll like flip out or do whatever, or, play, show his hand.
They're pushing it.
Yep.
Yeah, nobody has locks.
Nope.
I mean, we did see that there are keys, but we don't really lock anything. Yeah, Norman looks scary there.
Yeah, he does.
What's scarier, Amity Island or the Bates Motel?
I think the Bates Motel.
I agree. It is a scary place. Well, we could add to that the Overlook Hotel.
Yes, true.
And possibly that what's the name of the spaceship in Alien? It's like the
Nostromo.
The Nostromo.
Nostromo.
The Nostromo.
Yeah,
those are some scary places too.
Yeah,
I think the
agreed.
Nostromo is really scary.
Yes.
They're still focused on the money because, and that's what they have to do because, again, the term serial killer, I don't even think it exists at this point.
Right.
And they think that he stole the money because he's trying to get out of this motel. That's what the movie's really about.
Yeah.
That's what this is, all the president's men. It's follow the money. Now we're going to see if we can look at the cabins. Again, not a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he has stolen the money, do you think he's just left it around or something? What do you think you're going to find?
Right.
And the other thing, too, is if he's stolen the money, then are you thinking that he's killed Marion? Like, do they think he's killed Marion at this point?
No.
Then where do they think Marion is?
That's the thing. They don't know what it is, so they're kind of like stuck in that mystery part of it.
But if he's stolen the money, then he must have killed Marion. Or she's tied up somewhere. I guess those are the only possibilities.
Well, why aren't you accepting what they just gave us? You don't think it's enough?
No, because where's Marion?
Right.
If he stole the money, she has to be somewhere.
Yeah. All these moments.
By the way, I think the plumbing system in the Bates Motel has real problems. Because she flushed that paper like
Yeah.
a long time ago. Again, it's very slow and methodical for us to get to the toilet and the little scrap of paper she's going to find.
Yeah. She gets deeper and deeper into this thing.
And while he was cleaning up, he didn't look in the toilet. No shower curtain. But we knew where Marion was here. All right, now we finally get it. Let's go talk to the old woman.
Yeah. She's determined.
No, she's the driving force in this.
Yeah. By the way, we get no backstory on her.
No.
It's amazing how this movie works. Nobody has backstory. Nobody.
No. I think this movie shows that as long as things are driving forward, you really don't care about the past.
Right.
And this is I'm going to make a really weird analogy.
Yeah, please do.
I think that this is a theory that is used to the detriment of modern television sometimes.
Okay.
And the most egregious example of that is Lost, which is that you establish a mystery,
Oh my God.
and then you immediately in the next episode you establish some other weird thing, and the next one is another weird thing, and we never go back to deal with all the other stuff. As long as things are pushing forward, you don't look back.
Yeah.
You know.
Now we're in the stretch of the season, the tail end of the movie, rather.
Yeah. And once again we have not such a good plan. Oh, a creepy shot of Norman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just sit and talk with you for a while.
Yeah.
There's nothing weird about this. Particularly when, like, it seemed as if they were coming over for afternoon sex.
Yeah.
And you check into the cabin, and a few minutes later you say, oh, she's taking a nap. I want to talk to you.
Right.
There's a great old car in the background there.
Yeah. I love the design.
Yeah.
It's that light blue design.
This shot of her walking up the hill I love too. I think they're very cool.
Yeah.
Now, does this house look creepy to Lila in this moment? Because it certainly looks creepy to me.
Yeah.
Like, I would go like, man, this is not a house I should go into.
No, it's pretty scary. She's doing it by herself, though, man.
Yep. No, she's the hero of the movie, without question.
There's rumors, I don't know if you know this, but there's rumors about a sequel.
Oh, really?
And that she would have a part in it as a returning.
Vera Miles?
Yeah.
She's
Vera
still
Miles.
alive?
She's still alive, dude. You got to catch her. She's great.
Yeah. Where have you seen her?
Oh, a number of films. She's a good actress.
All right. We're in the house. We're getting there. So let's just have a conversation where I'm going to quietly try to trap you into saying that you really stole $40,000.
Yeah. Everyone's always trying to get over on Norman,
Yeah.
but he just walks people right into his trap so comfortably because he has that whole act. Look, the hands in the pocket,
Yep.
the leg up. It's all confident swagger.
I love charming Norman Bates.
Oh, yeah.
I really do.
You can't touch him.
You know, of the nervous Norman Bates, swagger Norman Bates, charming Norman Bates, and Norman Bates dresses his mother,
Yeah.
I choose charming Norman Bates.
Oh, yeah.
This room, mom's bedroom, I guess, is really creepy.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
In particular, the bed that has like the indentation.
Right. Remember, this is 1960?
60.
So, like, she looks like she's still living in the 1800s.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Well, it's a
early
Victorian. I mean, the
1900s.
house is Victorian, so that's definitely late 1800s.
Yeah. The colors.
And all the
designs.
furniture, it just is preserved.
Yeah.
Her beautiful dressing gowns
Yep.
that perfectly fit her son Norman.
Yeah.
There's a great little jump scare coming up, like a precursor to the classic modern jump scare.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, there it is. That is the classic. I think there's something, but it's just me. That's the creepy. That mattress creeps me out.
Look how burrowed in. God, how long was she sleeping in there?
Yeah.
Or how long did he keep her in there?
Well, and what I wonder is, like, are they saying, does he sleep in there now? Or
Good question.
this is a weird conversation. Like, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. More than happy.
Yeah. What could be more than happy than living with your desiccated old mummy?
Yeah.
She's both a mommy and a mummy.
She's a mum. Those designs of the circus up top.
So is this Norman's like kid room?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, old dolls and old toys are just creepy.
Yes.
I think our technology has improved a lot in these areas.
Yeah.
What was this? What was the album?
Eroica. Beethoven. Beethoven. Wait, I want to look that up. I wonder what that means.
So this one's a weird one, is that she sees a book that has nothing on it.
Yeah.
And I think apparently in the screenplay or in the novel, this is like filled with creepy erotic drawings or something like that. But we just see an empty book.
Okay. It's a large-scale composition that marked the beginning of Beethoven's creative middle period.
Okay. Is erotica like erotica? Is that the title?
It's stretching boundaries, form, length, harmony, and perceived emotional and possibly cultural content. Huh.
And here's where Norman figures it out. Where's that girl?
Yeah.
You kind of messed up there, Sam. You push it too hard.
Right.
Oh, and that hit on the head is totally not convincing.
Of course, it's terrible.
He goes right past his head.
Right. Oh, he sees her coming.
Great shot through the window.
Or she sees him coming, rather.
Maybe, hey, I got an idea. Let's go down to the fruit cellar.
Yeah, let's run down to the basement. Does that make any sense?
Nothing bad ever happens there. Great shot. Beautifully framed. Right. Beautifully lit. And I think she's gotten away with it. She thinks she can make it out. And then she has the thought, there's one room I haven't looked in yet.
I have to know.
I have to know. And this, by the way, I think I mentioned in our Hitchcock episode just on his biography. This is the shot that my wife was almost the body double for Psycho 1998.
Oh.
So we are coming up on Lila Crane seeing the back of Mom's head.
Right. Oh.
And reaching towards to turn her around. That shot was what my wife almost body doubled for. And here it comes.
Oh!
Great reveal. Great scream.
I love hitting the light.
Hitting the light bulb.
Then she sees him.
That is creepy, creepy.
Look at the shock on her face.
Yay, Sam has come.
Oh, that is so great.
With the music and the wig coming off and the slow reveal of the body and the shirt and the light bulb swinging around.
Yeah.
I love the way the light plays in the eye sockets as it goes back and forth. That is really cool.
And you know, this must have been people's first exposure to something like this in a film.
Oh,
yeah. We're probably so blown away by it, unsettled.
Well, I'm sure they had rating problems of between the shower scene and the dead body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the opening with her in the bra.
Oh, yeah.
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 Because you couldn't show two people in the same bed. I mean, they had to have separate beds with one foot on the ground.
That's right.
You know?
Even Ricky and Lucy.
And here we have the psychiatrist. This is it just is a really, really long monologue explaining the split personality.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
You know who that is?
Who is it? It's
West Side Story.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
That's who it is. I knew he's familiar.
Get out of here, Bernardo. Please. It's not Officer Krupke, for those of you listening. No, it's the guy above Officer Krupke.
Right. So now we're going to, and I think this is what, we talked about it in Vertigo, actually, of like psychiatry, and that we're going to figure, I think Hitchcock had some fascination with psychiatry on some level.
Sure.
And I think we kind of moved past it to some degree where we don't need to explain. We don't have to have a huge, long explanation, particularly at the end of the movie. It's like, look, the movie, we're done.
Yeah.
Like, let's get to the end a little bit. But so this is one area where I don't love this scene in this movie.
Yeah. The mother. He's a swaggering psychiatrist.
No,
though,
he's
right.
well. You got this gig, and
Yeah.
you have like a 3 or 4 page monologue
Yeah,
to climax the Hitchcock film. I think you're going to put everything you have into it.
that's true. That's a very good point. You're gonna act the fuck out of it. I suppose you're right.
And it's pure exposition.
Yeah.
You have no character. There's no motivation here. You're just like, let me explain everything that you just saw.
She threw them over for this man.
Matricide, John, is probably the most unbearable crime of all.
It's the most unbearable to the son who commits it. That's for sure. Wow.
Yeah, it's just a lot. It's so funny because our image of what a serial killer is today is like a completely different thing.
Oh yeah.
It is,
And a
and what
psychiatrist.
and what a sociopath is, and
Yeah.
this goes on a really long time.
Yeah. It's almost like he's doing a lawyer speech at the end.
Totally, that is
Right?
like he's summing up.
Final.
I might be
arguments.
just a small town psychiatrist.
I'm just a frozen caveman. Your ways are foreign to me. But
yeah, Phil Hartman should have played this part.
oh my god, in the remake.
Yeah, it's going on and on.
Yeah.
Therefore, yeah, he's acting the shit out of
Oh,
this.
Aroused by him.
I really don't understand why Hitchcock felt the need to have this. You know what it is too? This is like what you would see in a TV show.
I don't think this was Hitchcock at all.
You think this was just
I think it's a studio going, you've got to do something at the end of here to explain everything to the people who are watching. Because he was never this ham-handed.
no? I mean, this is so much. I mean, it is like a 1950s, late 50s TV drama where you're just going to have a big speech.
Yep.
And if you look at, like, we just did Vertigo, we just did Rear Window, there's nothing like this in there.
Thoroughly agree.
Because just to be clear, for those of you playing the home game and watching along,
Yeah.
this monologue is still going on.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been a long time.
If I knew this monologue, I'd perform it like Unforgiven.
I think this
Or
would be your new
Unforgiven episode.
audition piece.
Yeah. Sit in a chair, speaking of boys. He tried to be his mother.
You know who'd do this well? Shatner.
Oh, Shannon would kill this. Are you kidding?
He would eat this. He would eat it up.
Oh, my God.
Well, and you just have all these shots of these people that are just listening, right? Just listen.
He would put pauses within the pauses.
Yeah.
Battle is over.
Yep. And now we finally get the answer. It's like the money was a true MacGuffin.
Yep.
It literally meant nothing.
He feels a little.
And now we're going, now this is great.
Yeah.
First of all, that actor who we're about to see,
Yeah.
Ted Knight.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. There's Ted Knight, who does a really good job in this extra part. And this is amazing.
Yeah.
I think the shot is amazing. The slow push in and hear Mrs. Bates's voice and watching Perkins's face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this I think this shot is totally amazing.
Yeah.
To watch like sheer madness going on with this person.
But look how the only two people that hear voices are him and Janet Leigh.
Yeah, and Janet Leigh. Yeah.
No one else has this happen in the movie.
It's true. This is so good. Like, I would have just found a way to cut down the psychiatrist monologue and get to this faster.
Yeah.
I love that he's going to start to smile. I'm not even going to swat that fly. They'll see and they'll know. Why, she wouldn't even harm a fly. That smile is, I mean, that is psycho. And you see it almost becomes a skull for a moment.
Because it goes his mom. It
Yeah.
his mom's face. It's great.
Amazing.
Right.
And the end on the car coming out.
It's so perfect.
So we have reached the end of Psycho.
There you go. There's no end credits, huh?
No, we had everything in the beginning.
1960. That's how they did it back then.
So this movie, obviously, hugely, hugely influential.
Yes.
This is the beginning of what will become the slasher film. This is the beginning of the Psycho film. By the way, I think it's that last look from Anthony Perkins at the end that really solidifies that. I think that is amazing.
He's still in control.
So we had, this hasn't been one of our traditional Cine-Files episodes.
Right.
But do you mind if I ask you if you have any final thoughts on Psycho?
Sure. Rewatching it again with this commentary track, the movie itself, you're not presented with much. You're not presented with much of the backstory of the characters or whatever. What you're presented with are a bunch of really good actors, and they are playing the silences so well. And then Hitchcock, as a director, because of the limited budget he was on, is able to make the movie work by filling in the blanks with these voiceover scenes and what have you that you don't even see, but your mind creates them. Your mind, which gets you in the mood of the movie, because this whole movie is a guy creating something in his mind about what he's experiencing, So that's brilliant. Then you get the young Anthony Perkins, who is absolutely fantastic in this movie, very charming, but also within the scenes that he's in. Remember, he is Norman Bates, but he is playing the character of Norman Bates, because at the end, when you get that monologue, it's been Mama Bates the whole time. Norman Bates has not really been there in a fully realized way at all. It is his mom imitating his son, not his son imitating his mom. Even when he's dressed as her, it's her.
It's the mom character.
The mom character, right, exactly. And that last, like you said, Steve, that last smile is the really like full embodiment of this man's lunacy that is never going to go away. And it's incredible to see that. And this film moves fast. It's an hour 48 minutes. It feels like it's a 45-minute film. It moves so fast.
Yeah. For me, I know that I said before, this is not my favorite Hitchcock film. I do think watching it, you see that great Hitchcock craftsmanship, the ability to create suspense, even over a scene of someone packing a bag or cleaning up a room for a long time, because of the Bernard Herrmann music and because of the situation that he's created. You're still filled with that suspense. I also think, though, what elevates this movie isn't the story and the craftsmanship, but the idea. I think Hitchcock knew somehow that this idea of the killer, of the insane killer in the lonely place who will murder you unexpectedly with no reason at all and no moral compunction, was going to haunt people. And I think that this movie is the inspiration for an entire genre of films.
That's a great point.
That are going to explore that idea, and TV series and, Criminal Minds and all this stuff of like going into the mind of the remorseless killer. And so therefore, I'm going to put this movie into a category I have not mentioned in a long time, which is great films that ruined Hollywood.
There it is.
Is that I think this is a great film. I think this created a whole bunch of other great things in its wake, and also created dozens and even hundreds of imitators of crap that would not have existed if Alfred Hitchcock had not broken through the door, gone into the shower, pulled out the knife and the chocolate syrup, and started murdering Marion Crane.
Well, there you go.
So that is what we think of Psycho. I hope you've enjoyed our commentary track.
Yeah.
It's not something we do very often, but certainly maybe this will be our annual tradition.
Sure.
When we do a month of a special director in January of each year. I really hope that you've enjoyed our month of Hitchcock. I know that I have really enjoyed spending a month digging deep into the master of suspense.
Yeah, me too, man. It's been a lot of fun. And to see how excited our fans were to have us tackle Hitchcock was even more fun. It made it even more worth it to do it because, you know, a lot of them asked us to do it, but we didn't know how deep the desire to do it was.
Clearly,
we started doing it.
Huge love for Hitchcock.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for pushing us to do it.
Yeah.
We're sorry that it took so long. And by the way, we've also just launched Cine-Files Shorts, and John and I just recorded 2 of them, which will be going up on patreon.com. Probably one of them's probably already up, and the other one will be up next week. And they are one on our favorite podcasts,
Yep.
and the other one talking about Cobra Kai. So if you want to hear what John and I think about podcasts and the YouTube series Cobra Kai based on Karate Kid, the only way to do it is become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/thecine-files. A $3 a month bid or pledge is all you need to do to support the show and hear those episodes.
Yeah.
But for $5 a month, you can actually suggest what we're going to talk about in a Cine-Files Shorts. Thank you for everyone who supports the show there. Thank you for those of you who subscribed on iTunes or on YouTube
Yeah.
or left your reviews, your comments, and those of you who haven't, I think it's about time that you do.
Yeah.
If you want to buy any of the movies that we've talked about, including a whole page devoted to Alfred Hitchcock, you can visit cinephiles.net. As always, you can reach me on Twitter at SRMorris, on Instagram on SRMorris1. John, where can they reach you?
You can find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. That's ROCHA. Find me on there, follow me. Let's talk some movies, send me some comments, whatever. And of course, you can see all my work over there at Collider. And don't forget about the Top 10 show on the Schmoes Know podcast channel as well.
And thank you for spending an entire month with us and Mr. Hitchcock. And we will see you next time on the Cine-Files.